Record to the Hey.
Hey everyone! How's it going, everyone? So excited. We are here today for our Wealth Planner and Attorney Walk into a Bar series. I'm
Yes.
Karla Ukman, and I'm here with Patrice Tisdale, and I am so excited that we are here to chat with you about foundational things that you need for your business. One of the things that we see a lot of is, people are listening to social media, they're listening to their friends, they're doing all this crazy stuff, and they don't have the foundations set up correctly. So that is what we're here today to talk about. And for people that don't know who I am, I'm Karla Ukman. I am founder and wealth planner of Artemis Wealth Management, and I am not your father's advisor. And what does that mean? That means that I work with women and historically excluded communities where I create a space where they can build wealth their own way. And I do that by providing education behind the why. And I truly feel that if we have the foundations for financial education, we can change generations to come. So that is who I am, and I will let Patrice introduce herself.
Hey everyone, Patrice Tisdale. I am the managing partner for Tisdale Legal Group. I am your chief legal officer, and I work with organizations and entrepreneurs that to leverage the law to their advantage so that they have a full confidence in their contracts, they have a fully vetted path forward to their goals, and they can do so like billionaires do, but without spending the billion. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I offer my services on a flat rate, monthly rate for organizations and on entrepreneurs so that we can have an actual relationship and you can gut check the questions that you may have, the decisions that you're going to be making without having to worry about what that billable hour bill is going to look like at the end of the conversation. So I'm very invested and love to partner with my clients to make sure that they are making decisions that are in their best interests, and that if they do want to take certain risks, we can have that conversation as to what that risk looks like. As all business decisions are legal decisions, right? All business decisions have a legal impact. So I want there to be that level of comfort to have the conversation with me without worrying about what that bill looks like. So as Karla says, we have a series we jokingly call a wealth planner and an attorney walk into a bar. To add to that, we jokingly said we're going to walk through, we think of, the client we're going to be talking to or having these conversations with. We're, talking to Becky in the Good Hair store. So that's just, we're silly, right? Like we try
Yep.
to have fun in our process with our clients. We deal with enough serious things. We should be able to, to inject some laughing jokes in there. So
Yeah.
although some of it is going to be, focused on service providers, we want to walk Becky through the process, when you're just starting your business through to you're at your 20,000 plus, 50,000 plus, et cetera, monthly revenue. So,
Yeah.
as Farah said, a lot of people are out there running around looking at what's online, and you hear sole proprietorship versus your LLC versus trusts versus, S corps and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And so to start, let's, step back for a second. The LLC, everybody should know, or most people know, it's a limited liability corporation. So when you register a business, you can choose to be a sole proprietor, which means you're doing things under your own name. You are taking on all the personal risks, etc. An LLC is the next step to say, okay, this entity is separate from me. This is a different person, in the eyes of the law. And so anything that is done for this entity, the entity is the one that takes responsibility. So you're going to shield yourself. And some people are okay. That's what they want. They want to ensure that what they do as a business does not come back to bite them. They want to make sure that certain debts, the money that's made, et cetera, that is stopped at the business and their own personal, because people start businesses at different stages of their life. And Karla's going to talk about that some more. They may have, independent wealth and that they've gained in one area and say, okay, no, now I'm going to go and live my dream, and start my dream business. And they're going to, they may use that, but they don't want to expose that. So the first thing is creating a a veil or a space between yourself and the business. So that's the first thing I typically, for, again, can't give you legal advice, but for most clients that are going to come to me, they've already had this, already created that, but we want to set that foundation. Having an LLC creates that difference between you and your business. And where you hear the term piercing the corporate veil, we won't get into that, but you are creating a veil between yourself and the company. So usually tell individuals that's the first thing you should look at and you consider as your foundation. What type of entity do you want this to be structured as? The second is looking at your contracts. Your foundations should be in place. You have their basic contracts that you should have. If you're a service provider, definitely have your contract as to how you would like a relationship to run, have that in place and set that as the tone to start your negotiations. So you bring on a client, you present them with your contract, and that sets the tone for how the negotiation is going to go from there. What you're willing to offer, what risks you're willing to take, etc. So make sure you have one drafted for how you would like to run your business. The second piece, well, I shouldn't say, that should be the first one. Your operating agreement should be the first contract that you have in place. That is the contract between yourself and the entity. Because remember, we created an LLC. Think of it as two separate individuals. So you need a contract between you and the LLC to say, LLC, here are the power, the LLC is giving you certain powers. Here are the powers that you as the individual can operate, or decisions you can make on behalf of the LLC. I liken it to, it's like the constitution for your business, right? It's a constitution for the country. The federal government only has certain powers based on what the Constitution says they can and can't do. And so think of your operating agreement in that same space. The operating agreement gives you the power for what you can and cannot do. And that's what banks, lenders, financial institutions, they're going to look at your operating agreement before they're extending you, or most of them will look at the operating agreement before extending you the credit or money or whatever it is, to make sure that you actually have the power to engage the business in the way you're trying to engage it. So get your operating agreement together, get your service contracts together, and then the other two I talk about, or we'll talk about, is the loan agreement and a capital contribution agreement. So if you are starting out, you're going to lend money to your business, or you're going to decide to invest money in your business. One of those two is the one that you're going to use, depending on where. If you want the money back, you're going to have a loan agreement. If you say, okay, I don't need the money back, we'll look at this as returns, owner's draw, whatever, but I'm not going to expect the business to pay it back. That's a capital contribution agreement. So get those documents in place. And, so you have the right foundation and you can start making your money. I know I said some stuff that Karla, is is going to jump on in terms of how you're going to fund your business. What are you going to do with the money that, that you make? This is where you go to your wealth manager to have these conversations with them.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. I was like, keep telling me more.
And now it's my turn to sit there and be like, ooh, oh, let me take some notes.
we nerd out with the details together. So whenever we're chatting, we're always like, ooh, tell me more. Because that's the importance of having a team, right? So I talk about this as, your team should play nice in the sandbox, and if they don't, then you need to get rid of those team members or find a whole new team. And when you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, it's not as simple as just saying, hey, I want to start this business and I'm just going to start selling my services. You need to really pay attention to the foundation so that later on down the road, you are set up for success.
Yep.
And having people like Patrice and I on your team will make sure that your wealth is protected. No one wants to go into entrepreneurship and expose themselves to unnecessary risks. And the whole purpose for us is to make sure that we are making you millions. I mean, we want more millionaires out there, right? And
Mhm.
so one of the things that I see a lot of is, one, we don't have the contract set up for entrepreneurship, and that's where Patrice comes in, and we make sure that we have a solid foundation. So I would ask you, when we work together, how is your business set up? And one of the things that I do is I look at also, how are we going to save? So now that you have the contracts, you have everything set up for your new business, your new entrepreneurship journey, and all the things, and we're ready to go. Well, how are you going to fund some of your things that you need to, purchase?
Mhm.
So maybe that's general liability insurance. Maybe that's, marketing now. Maybe that's technology. There's a lot of different things that we have to think about when we're entrepreneurs. And what I see a lot of is most people are coming from corporate America, some type of job where they had a retirement plan. And that could be a pension, that could be a 401k, 403b. And a lot of times you hear, just use that to fund your business. And it's
Especially in
not
the real estate space.
yes, yes, or
Self-directed IRAs. Use them to buy your property, but not to insure.
yes.
Yes.
No, no, no. Interrupt. So, so I see this also in franchises. Do you see that too? I see where franchises are like, hey, you can purchase this business and you just need to invest 50,000, take it from your 401k, your IRA. So um that is where we need to chat with you, because when you're taking money out of a retirement account, you're penalized for taking an early distribution. So remember, you're putting money in pre-tax usually, so 401k, IRA, 403b, and you were never taxed on that money that you contributed to that account. It was growing tax free, and the IRS says, hey, we're going to do this for you. We're going to allow you to do this until 59 and a half, and then you can take money out of that without a penalty. You are going to pay taxes on that growth and the money that you put in there, tax free,
Mhm.
but we want our taxes. Well, when you take a withdrawal from one of your retirement accounts before 59 and a half, you have a penalty, and you're penalized 10%. And we have to make sure that that is going to be the most efficient way to fund. And Patrice just talked about this, right? Having your operating agreement put together correctly. Are there other ways that we could fund certain things that you need to, pay for without taking away from your retirement? Because now we have to save for ourselves. Like, as entrepreneurs, it's on us. We have to start saving. So, for example, if you're just starting out, you have availability to a personal IRA where you can start contributing to that account. And the more money that we make, we have more availability to save for retirement. But let's just say you start contributing to an IRA. Well, you're not getting any matches that you used to get from your employer on your
Mhm.
401k. So it's up to you to now provide for that retirement. And when I say retirement, doesn't mean that you're going to stop working. I look at retirement as we're shifting. So you might shift into a different space. You might decide to open up another company. So don't look at it as I don't plan on ever retiring. Retiring is means something different, but to everyone. But what we have to remember is now it's all on you as the entrepreneur. And what I see is people are in business for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they never ever saved
Mhm.
for their retirement. They stopped. So they were in corporate America, they saved, and then they stopped because they kept putting money into their business, which is important, right? But you have to make sure that you're not forgetting about yourself. And
Mhm.
that's where you're working with us and some of your other money team members. And we're making sure that you're able to fund your other endeavors as well as your retirement. And even if you do $50 a month, that is better than not doing anything at all.
Yep. Yep. And you bring up such a good point because I think, as entrepreneurs, and I'll be caught in that as well, that you are so busy and focused on funding the business and the business making money and the business getting a profit and the business doing this and the business
Mhm.
expanding, da 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 da, that you don't stop to think what's happening in the meantime, for you personally. As you said, you're coming from corporate America, you're coming from being an employee. That was something that was automated. You set your
Mhm.
your 401k contributions and you didn't think about it. Someone else was matching it, they were automatically pulling it out for you, etc. Now you
Mhm.
have to think about that. And especially if you're going to try to use money from that to fund, or as you said, look at the other options. Do you want to pay that that penalty and then whatever other taxes on top of which, you need to pay? What does that look like versus going to get a personal loan, to be able to
Yeah.
fund it? So
Yeah.
these are some like really, really, really good points where I'm sitting here like, dang, okay.
I felt the same way when you were talking. I'm like, dang. And this is why working, like I just said, working with the team, because we all do different things.
Mhm,
We know just a little bit in order in all different areas to say, hey, you need to talk to Patrice because I know that you're supposed to have this put together. That's not what I do, but you need to talk to her because of this, and
mhm,
vice versa.
yep,
And when you're working with us, we're looking at the future. And when we're building our businesses, we're very tunnel visioned,
mhm,
and we're looking at this goal of, hey, I need to make this revenue or I need to hit this goal. And we have to expand what we're looking at. And we have to make sure that we're looking at all the different pieces of, creating a very solid foundation for your business.
mhm,
And marketing and business coaches and all that are super, super important. We both, invest in that. But if you don't have these foundations, then you're going to be spinning your wheels and
mhm.
exposing yourself to unnecessary risks.
Yep, yep, definitely. And where we'll segue, because we're going to try to keep these at, 15,
Yeah.
20 minutes, because I know how I am. If I go into
Me too.
somebody's live, that's at like 30 minutes, I'm like, oh. Um, So what we're going to try to do is keep these series at that point. However, Karla and I are going to start doing master classes where we will delve into these and we will
Mhm.
get to nerd out a little bit more, but we want you to be involved and ask questions. We're both, because of our legal obligations and compliance reasons, we cannot give legal advice. We cannot give, direct financial planning advice specific to you in those sessions because we got licenses to lose. So
Yeah.
we can, hypothetically, we can talk about, what we see and give our overall, opinions and what the law may say or what planning wisdom may say. But we will be doing those in our master classes. We're going to be doing them on the fourth Wednesday of each month. at 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Sorry, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So we hope you will join us. We will post the link to register. We're going to go through, the whole process of prettying it up and everything else, but we will be talking about these things, and we're talking about it through the life cycle of a business and the ownership, right? Because you are a person behind it, and you definitely have to have wealth planning in how you're doing your business. So we hope you'll join us again, fourth Wednesday of every month, starting in January, and moving forward. All
Sounds
right.
amazing. Oh,
Yeah,
and real quick, how can my followers get in touch with you if they have questions?
that's good. Good point. I always forget that point. Just like we'll talk and then we're done. Um, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Patrice Tisdale, Facebook as Tracy Tisdale. I do have the professional Facebook profile as well, but Tracy is where I'm more active. And then on IG at real_law_ESQ. And we'll put that, in the comments as well. So that's where you can reach me. I know I should have it all formatted or all the
It's
same. And this
fine.
is part of what happens. As we said, entrepreneurs, we hit the ground running and then we
Yeah.
think about things. You see that with myself. So there's never any judgment, over here
No.
getting more things in
No
order.
judgment.
So whichever platform you're looking at this on, by all means, even if it's on this video, just, post a comment, we'll reach
Yep.
out to you. And the
Yep.
same for you, Karla.
Yeah.
Like, how can my people get themselves together with you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn at Karla Ukman. You can also find me on Facebook at Karla Ukman. My website is artemiswealth.net, and you can also just message me in the DMs if you have questions on my website. You can also book a free consultation. And yeah, if you have no idea where to even start, I always say, just ask one of us and we'll say, no, you really need to talk to Patrice or it's me. And
Yeah,
don't worry about trying to figure out who you need to talk to. We'll help you with that. So just reach out to
exactly.
one of us and we'll tell you who you need to talk to.
Exactly. And if it's not one of us, like we have
Yep.
a network of individuals, right? That we may
Yes.
say, okay, you're not at the stage for our services as yet. You talk with this person, or maybe you are past like where we are. You already have that stuff in place. Here's the next,
Yeah.
person in the sequence. So
Yep.
again, it's just reiterating what Carr says. No
Yep.
hesitation, reach out and take that step, reach out and we'll direct you from there. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.